So, okay, then we could start.
Yes.
Punctually.
Yeah. Yes.
And, then, okay. Welcome to our first official webinar about lift tradition in Germany. Nice to meet you all here. And just let me show you what you will about the topics of the webinar. You will get short informations about the European project. You will we will have briefly a slide or two for the national EliCCon exhibition in Germany, then about the international EliCCon exhibitions in Spain, United Kingdom, and Czech Republic. We will show best of the photos from the cultural heritage and traditions in Germany. And we briefly want to talk about the intercultural exchange, and you will hear what's next. The project partners is clear from Germany, Czech Republic, Spain, and United Kingdom. I think there are the participants here all know this about the project. And we make the photo reportage from lift traditions in each participating country, and the results will be presented to the public with international exhibitions on internet platforms, on the project homepage, on Facebook, on European platforms, let's say for EPALE or dissemination platform. We will have the transnational webinars like this, and finally the ebook with the results of the project, and all photo reportages will appear as an open educational resource. What's important also is that the EliCCon-Project is co-financed by the European Erasmus Plus program, of course. But additionally, it was qualified as a contribution to the European Year of Cultural Heritage, the Sharing Heritage 2018+1. The first exhibition of the project started on national level in Germany. It was about fortresses. There exists also a European community concerned with fortresses in Europe. The Fortecultura. If you go to their homepage, you find a lot about fortresses in Europe. Here the first pictures, a photo of the today underground area of the fortress in Rastatt. It is a huge labyrinth of corridors and rooms. Several parts of it are open for visitors. Here a photo from the fortress in Ulm with a fisheye, is it, Matthias?
Yes, it's a fisheye photo.
Yeah. And the next photo is also a part of the fortress in Ulm. It was photographed also with a special method.
It's with infrared filter.
Yeah. But now a word to the international exhibitions. The first, the Spanish project partner, could organize exhibition venues in the University of Huelva. In the public university study more than 12,000 students, if I'm right. Therefore, especially many young people were able to get an impression of the colorful world of lift traditions in Czech Republic, in Germany, Spain, and the United Kingdom. The exhibition in Birmingham took place in the South and City College, Birmingham, in July 2019. Also, this exhibition mainly reached a younger audience. We have shown about 50 posters in each exhibition, and to each poster, the teams added short explanatory texts about the content. At the opening, the teams also explained the contents of their posters. The third exhibition took place in Ostrava. in the Czech Republic, which is very far in the east of the country in the Moravian Silesian region. The latter was dominated by coal and steel. Today, the area is undergoing a clear structural change. We will hear more about this from our Czech team in the next webinar next week. The Czech project partner could organize the historical Michal mine in Ostrava for the exhibition. At the opening on 11th of October 2019, I think Martin counted 13 nations who were here. Additionally, a slideshow with posters was shown. The Michal mine in Ostrava is a former coal mine that has been transformed into a museum of mining. Already in 1995, the mine site was declared as a national cultural heritage in Czech Republic. Therefore, the Michal mine was an excellent venue for the exhibition. But let's ask ourselves, what is lived culture? Actually, until today, no common definition of the concept of culture has been established. Cultural heritage does not end at monuments and collections of objects. The term folklore is not a synonym, but of course includes many aspects of the lived culture. The definition from the UNESCO is a bit different. It also includes traditions or inherited living expressions, such as oral traditions, performing arts, social practices, rituals, festive events, knowledge and practices concerning nature and the universe, or the knowledge and skills to produce national crafts. We now will step into the world of lived traditions in the south of Germany. Then we will come back to the respective terms of the UNESCO. Let me briefly show you the geographical position of the region. The German team with their search, where the German team photographed with their search for lived traditions. The largest natural units are the Big Rhine Valley, and it is very close to the border to France, and the Black Forest mountain range. Let's start with the oral traditions. Here you see the dialect book of Oetikheim, a dialect dictionary composed by old inhabitants from Oetikheim near Rastatt. The oral traditions and expressions include an enormous variety of spoken forms, including proverbs, riddles, tales, legends, myths, epic songs and poems, prayers, chants or songs, and so on. Oral traditions and expressions are used to pass on knowledge, cultural and social values, and collective memory. They play a crucial part in keeping cultures alive. We can regard also the so-called Dorfbott or Bittel as an oral tradition. The terms are regional dialects and can be translated as messenger of a village. He was part of a village for centuries, like a major or priest. The tradition ended in the 20th century. The Dorfbott was like a newspaper, radio, and television in one person. He knew not only the official, but also informal, local conversations, and was often the cheerful salt in the soup of the village events. With bell and cap, he rang through the villages shouting, "Announcement, announcement." In Eisenthal, which is located between Baden-Baden and Bühl, the Dorfbott revived very successfully since about 2 years. A part of the intangible cultural heritage are the performing arts. They range from vocal and instrumental music, dance, theater to pantomime, sung verse, and beyond. Lots of local amateur theaters in the region reflect especially the local traditions. Often they are speaking dialects. Here the theater from Scherzheim spoke Alsatian dialect, which is still spoken in France, in the Alsace, close to the border. As I already mentioned, a part of the performing arts is music. Old wooden instruments can be tracked throughout Europe and beyond for hundreds of years. Franz Schwörer is a passionate instrument maker living near Freiburg. His focus is on old wooden instruments. He made, for example, a nickel harpa, which you see here in the middle, and a hurdy-gurdy, it's on the right side here, and a smaller hurdy-gurdy, and a dulcimer, and a viola da gamba. It's a Spanish instrument. If you enter the name of the instruments on YouTube, you can hear the sounds of the instruments. Some of them are still very popular, or are popular again. The instrument maker is also part of the music group Vetternwirtschaft. The quintet knows how to enchant its audience with historical sounds and texts from 5 centuries. You hear a Swedish dance or a drinking song, which was written down in the 16th century by a nun. Or you hear dialect poems. Poems are set to music. The photo shows Franz Schwörer playing his self-made hurdy-gurdy. By the way, the group will be present at the opening of the EliCCon exhibition on 25th of April in 2020 in Rastatt. So a very widespread lived tradition is the Carnival, which is a mixture of performing arts, social practices, rituals, and festive events. There exist many and very different kinds of Carnival. In the southwest of Germany and parts of Switzerland, you often can find the Swabian Alemannic Carnival, which starts on 6th of January and ends on Ash Wednesday. Do you know Ash Wednesday? Is it also well known in Spain or in Czech Republic? I'm not sure. Or for Switzerland, I'm sure they should know Ash Wednesday. Because it is the beginning of Lent. Its durance is 40 days before Easter. In 2014, the Swabian Alemannic Carnival, the Swabian Alemannic Carnival was included in the German National UNESCO List of Intangible Cultural Heritage. Cornelia, yes, I think so, yeah. Thousands of wooden handmade masks and other handmade traditional equipment are used for the figures of the Swabian Alemannic Carnival. In the parades are hundreds or sometimes more than 1,000 participants. People of all ages appreciate the tradition very much. Because it is also party, it is a social event. Such social practices, rituals, and festive events are activities that structure the lives of communities and groups, and that are shared by and relevant to many of their members. They are significant because they reaffirm the identity of those who practice them as group or a society. So it's the culture, the traditions are really important for the people. Such social rituals and festive practice like Christmas or Easter or Carnival help to mark the passing of the seasons and the year. It is a structure. Just here in impression, some more wooden masks of the carnival, which are unique handmade pieces.
So we can ask if they also have wooden masks.
Do you know such wooden masks also in Spain or in Czech Republic or in Britain?
Ah, okay.
Uh-huh.
Ah, okay.
Uh-huh.
Not in Spain. Ah, it's okay.
That's really interesting because in this the carnival is very widespread in. I'm not sure if it is in whole Switzerland, Cornelia.
Ah,
She's our
but not
Swiss professional.
Ah, yeah, okay.
Or maybe in the south part. In Germany, it's mostly in the south and southwest. Ah, Majid, yeah. Not I've seen the UK. We have things like Wycomen. Yes, later on we will show another figure, which is Check the Green. It is a figure which is in Britain. Maybe it's only in some parts of Britain. Check the Green.
So.
Ah, yeah.
So. Go on.
And along the Rhine River.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Of course, definitely in Mainz, it's already different. I think there are also used some plastic masks, masks out of plastic. It is mainly very interesting, unique thing for the Swabian or Alemannic Carnival, these wooden masks. Of course, they could be seen also somewhere else. Here one more. Yeah. Here one more impressions of the Carnival Parade in Offenburg. On the left bottom side is our Cornelia. Cornelia.
Oh, sorry, I'm too.
Yeah. And here a short. Here you see the town hall from Offenburg during Carnival time. It seems to be nearly completely out of order. By the way, the Alemannic Carnival figures often wear handmade straw shoes. One of those who still can make straw shoes are the women from the Medicus Culture and Home Association in Lichtenau. They meet once a week to work on straw shoes, which are made from leaves of corn cobs. In earlier times, people wear only wooden shoes and straw shoes. Some Alemannic witches are also active on the Walpurgis night, for example, in Eisenthal. Do you know Walpurgis night or Philippi night? It is the night from 30th of April to 1st of May. Walpurgis night was already a pagan festival. It is known that the Celts and later the Teutons celebrated 1st of May as the beginning of spring, with bonfires, festivals, and musics. The Celts called this festival Beltane, and it was dedicated to a luminous sun symbolizing deity with healing powers. Some oracles were asked about the future. The Walpurgis night in Eisenthal is a bit different. Nevertheless, there is a fire, music and party. The Schattenberg witches use the night to welcome new members of their group. But before they'll get a mask, they have to take part in a ceremony. The witches catch the young witch and dunk him into the cold water. Now the next step. A witch liqueur of the finest. He's drinking it in one go, and he survived. Finally, the witches are dancing in the Walpurgis night. I briefly want to use the example of the Walpurgis night to show the change of contents of an old ritual. In earlier times, it was a pagan festival to celebrate the beginning of summer, dedicated to a goddess or more goddesses. In Christian times, it was the night of the evil where bad witches danced and people shouldn't go out of the door. Nowadays, it is a nice party with lots of fun, but also a social event where all are integrated. Usually, the Walpurgis night is a secularized event. Not everywhere, but usually. So you see how the Christian often used pagan festivals, but changed the contents. And now such rituals are still celebrated, but the content changed again. So the Walpurgisnacht is a very good example for that. Another huge festival is the 4 days medieval festival in Bretten at the beginning of July. It is not so widespread like Carnival, and it has another background. Nevertheless, nearly 4,000 persons from Bretten and elsewhere participate in this annual festival. They dedicate a lot of time, energy, and money during the year to make this festival what it is. About 50 historical groups are involved, and far more than 100,000 visitors come. The siege of Bretten in 1504 is authentically staged, as well as medieval craftsmanship and many other things. In 2014, the festival was listed in the German UNESCO Register of Intangible Cultural Heritage. The festival in Bretten is an excellent example of how the lived culture heritage is a source of identity for the people of a city or a region, and how it allows the community to grow together. There exist also other festivals in other villages or cities that are dedicated to historical events, but usually they are smaller. Some of the groups make the ammunition for the guns and other medieval weapons. And of course, they fire the cannons with a loud bang. Other medieval groups are the doctors, jugglers, theater players, barbers, craftsmen, and scholars, like here in the picture, the scholar. During the Peter and Paul festival, there is also a big parade, and it's worth to come there and have a look. It is really great. Here you see a historical crossbow.
So we'll make this one, and
I would like to introduce two other local and much smaller traditions, but their origin is much older. 50 days after Easter, Pentecost takes place. It is called, in German, it's called Pfingsten. It is a Christian festival where the spread of the Holy Ghost is celebrated. On Pentecost Monday, the so-called Pfingstträg is walking through the village Neudorf. He is completely covered with fern. Its origin was probably a pagan figure that symbolized the springtime. In other parts of Germany and in Europe, there exist similar traditions on Pentecost. In England, for example, I found Czech the Green or Czech in the Green. In communities in Lower Austria, the custom was documented for the first time in 1555. Now let's have a look how they walk through the streets.
So we wait a little bit because oh, does it? Yeah, maybe.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is like it represents summer and springtime and grow, and I think that's very narrow to life.
Yeah, yes, Oberndorf. Yeah, yes.
Ah, yes, okay.
So I went back to the presentation.
So yes, and this tradition was more widespread in earlier times in the region, but nowadays it is only left in Oberndorf. Yeah, the next. The so-called Pelzemetal probably also have their origin in pre-Christian times. In the Black Forest are still some of these old traditions practiced or rediscovered. During the dark season, briefly before Christmas, men with dark costumes, masks, and hats are going through the village. With their chains and bells and dark growling, the evil spirits of the dark nights are expelled. They also ask the children if they have been brave during the year. If so, they are getting something out of the sack. Sometimes the children sing a song or play a song on their instruments for the Pelzemetal. And they have to promise to be brave during the year. A very different Pelzemetal can be seen in Bad Herrenalb. He is coming as a single Pelzemetal together with the Christ child on the afternoon of the Saint Evening. Especially parents with their children are on the marketplace, where the Pelzemetal distributes more presents to the children and a band plays Christmas music. Sometimes he's jumping, like here in the photo, and the bells on his costume are ringing. Now I want to touch a local religious festival. But first, a brief comment about the relationship between religion and culture. All religions are an aspect of cultural life. Church representatives see the Christian festivals also as a cultural and humanistic capital. Think on the religious festivals and rites like Christmas, Easter, marriage, baptism, funerals. They are important parts of each culture. The vow procession in the small village Lautenbach on the feast of the Blessed Virgin Mary's Visitation is celebrated on 2nd of July. It goes back to a historical event in the 19th century, where a serious disease has broken out in the region and many people died. The people from Lautenbach prayed to their God. If he would help them, they promised to celebrate it every year. The disease stopped. Since then, the people from Lautenbach organize a vow procession every year on the 2nd of July. A completely different dimension of a Christian lived tradition have the carol singers, which can be found all over the world. That's my question. Do you know the carol singers in your region or in your country? So maybe in some communities,
Maybe.
it is there are carol singers. Yes, I sometimes knock my door and sing carols.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think it's everywhere. It's organized by the Catholic Church, and they often make donations for special projects. They gather money for special projects. Ah, yeah. Okay. Now we want to introduce a typical winter tradition and fire tradition, which can be found in Central Europe. Huge spark fires are made like in Herden, you see it on the bottom side, Herden, in the Murg Valley, where young guys every year organize the tradition. In other villages, like in Bernau, the upper part, the people prepare wooden slabs here, throw them into the fires, spark fires, until they are glowing, and then hit the slabs with a long stick into the valley. While they are doing this, they loudly shout good wishes to the valley for people they know. Let's pay attention to another focus of the lived cultural heritage, the knowledge and skills to produce traditional crafts. Here you see the equipment of a former time setter. It's a kind of material culture. Invented by Johannes Gutenberg around 1450, this kind of typesetting existed till the digital age brought better methods. Initiation ceremonies can symbolize certain stages of a person's life. It must be impressive and it must be unforgettable. Here, the ceremony of Gautschen is the beginning of a professional life after education. Today, the modern professions of printers from media technology enjoy the Gautschen in Mainz. Initiation ceremony can be also a marriage or the start of school. In Czech Republic, it is also popular, yeah?
No, it's Magdalena
was,
from the Sternsinger, but Boyer.
Ah, yeah. If you want.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sometimes.
No, it was a very typical ceremony in Germany, and it was widespread for the typesetters, for the former typesetters, and an initiation rite after their education when they stepped into the professional life. They all came into this water, cold water.
Also in Switzerland.
In Switzerland, sometimes, yes, also in Switzerland.
Okay.
And it was very impressive because they had about 20 persons who came into the water. Everything was wet. And thousands of people had a lot of fun. Now let's turn to the, let's continue with the traditional craftsmanship. Here you see a mask carver from Gansbach in the Murg Valley in the Black Forest. He makes masks for the Swabian Alemannic Carnival. But there exist several mask carvers for the Carnival in the Black Forest. Here you see some of the masks he finished. And he wear his own mask, of course. The basketry is very well known as a traditional craftsmanship, and here the wood carving another aspect of wood carving. Spinning wool is a very old tradition that some women still practice as a hobby. In 2014, rafting was included in the German nationwide list of intangible cultural heritage. Rafting dates back to ancient times. From about 15th to the 19th century, rafting was widespread in Germany in areas where large forests enabled large timber trade, also beyond the borders. At that time, only the waterway was available for transporting wood over long distances. The demand for wood was enormous, especially for charcoal burning as building material and firewood. Today, floating is a hobby in Germany and other European countries. I mentioned the enormous wood requirements of the charcoal burners. Here you see the charcoal burning. Before the use of stone and brown coal, the charcoal was used to smelt iron. In 1997, charcoal burners from several European countries joined forces in the European Charcoal Makers Association in order to maintain the classic charcoal maker craft. Traditional healing systems can be found on all continents and in all cultures. Of course, it is not folklore. It is really lived tradition. Naturopathy is one of the oldest lived cultural heritage in the world. Here, skills and knowledge have been transmitted over hundreds of or even thousands of years. Hippocrates, for example, was the most famous doctor in the antiquity. Many naturopathic methods can be found in his 60 medical writings, which are called the Corpus Hippocraticum. Herbal therapy is one of the oldest medical therapies. Cupping glasses, for example, were practiced already 3,300 years before Christ in old Mesopotamia. And the origins of the spagyric essences can be found approximately in the 16th century. Homeopathy was founded from the German medical doctor Samuel Hahnemann, end of the 18th, beginning of the 19th century. Yes. And they are still, many, in many countries, they are still used, the cupping classes.
Mhm.
In Arabic, it's called hijama. Ah,
Mhm.
yes. Mhm. Is it still used in Arabic countries? Do you know it, Majid?
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Mhm. In Germany also. Mhm. Yes. Mhm. So you see, it is really a tradition, a very old tradition and old knowledge, and it's still practiced in nearly all over the world, I would say. I'm sure that you will find it also in USA or in other countries. Mhm. Of course, hydrotherapy is also an important point of naturopathy. And already Antonius Musa was treated Caesar with hydrotherapy. And in the 19th century, it was the priest Sebastian Kneipp who practiced hydrotherapy. Here you see the thermal bath in Bad Wildbad. The building is a Moorish architecture. Now I will continue with some examples of historical thermal baths in the Black Forest. The bath culture is also an old lived tradition in Europe. Here are also some impressions of the thermal bath in Bad Wildbad. It is from Rastatt, it is about 50 kilometers, is it?
Yeah. 15, 20.
Many areas of the bath are in a Moorish style. Yeah, especially the big hall, you see it on the upper part of the photo.
Yeah, it's very amazing.
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing, Maciej. You must come and have a look and bath there. Take a bath there. Here you see Baden-Baden is famous for its thermal bath. Here you see the Caracalla's thermal bath. Another impression here is from the Friedrichsbad in Baden-Baden. It was the, yeah, yes, Caridad. It was the famous thermal bath in Europe in the 19th century. It is also worth to come there. Of course, material traditions are strongly connected with our lived traditions. The house building is a good example for that. And here you see a typical house from the Black Forest. Such old traditions are shown in many museums, like the so-called Vogtsbauernhöfe. Here you see the inside of a Black Forest house with a tile stove. And here is the storage room of a historical Black Forest house, with the vessels for wine and for sauerkraut and something else. And here an example for technical tradition. The hydroelectric power plant Rudolf Fettweis-Werk in Forbach in the Black Forest is still working. It was built in 1914. Steam locomotives are not any longer used for regular transportation, but on some railroads, individual nostalgic trips are conducted. They became a lived tradition. The oldest company in Rastatt still repairs railway wagons. It was founded in 1897, but it's still working. Now we have seen many examples about lived culture in Germany. The main goal of this project is to show the colorful world of lived traditions in Europe and to emphasize its importance for our society. Cultural exchange within Europe can be a highlight for the people, can reduce stereotypes and open the way for new synergies. We all can learn something from each other. As an example, I want to mention the German-French thematic year 2019. The organizers prepared several common activities. The French team showed a historic hot air balloon in the courtyard of the Baroque castle in Rastatt. A German-French team in Baroque costumes led the audience through the rooms of the Baroque castle. And it was really fun for them. In the background, you see the Baroque castle from Rastatt. Within every European country are living different cultures. The motto of cultural exchange applies here as well. The more exchange between the cultures, the more stereotypes and even xenophobia can be reduced. Therefore, it is important to create bridges of cultural exchange. As an example for a culture in the culture, we visited the Jewish community in Baden-Baden. They are living their traditions. Here, they are celebrating the Purim festival. The Jewish community created cultural bridges. For example, the rabbi offers school classes to take a glance into the synagogue and learn something about the Jewish tradition. Meanwhile, it could also happen in Germany that other cultures than German present their costumes in a parade. Finally, I want to say that this presentation is only a very small selection of lived traditions in Germany. In every village and in every city, lots of people, most of them volunteers, still practice many traditions. So thank you very much for your attention. The next webinar will take place on Thursday, the 5th of December, same time. And the online trainer will be Magdalena from our Czech project partner, ALVIT. The webinar is recorded and will be published on YouTube. After it has been published, you can find the link on our project homepage. Here is the URL for the project homepage.
And it's next week.
It's next week, yes. And we would be very pleased if you come. And so if you have any questions, please let me know. If you have any comments. Of course, Magdalena, we will be, we hope that, that we have a full classroom. Thank you, Majid, for the comments. Thanks a lot, Cornelia, for the comments. Thanks. So if you have any comments.
Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you, Andrea, for the comment. Thanks, Caridad and Carlos behind.
No, Carlos is with the
Carlos is extra
with
now.
the own
With his own account.
Yes.
Thanks, Stefan.
Yeah.
Yes, I are here. Nice colors.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Marta. Thanks, Mary, Eckhart, and Beth. Thanks for coming. Thanks, Carlos. Thanks for the comments.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you so much, Susanna. So have a nice evening.
And have a nice week, and maybe we
see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, see you soon, Cornelia. Yes, Steffen.
Bye, Martin. Bye.
So.